Ahoy! Due to some weather considerations, it took us longer than usual to travel to the Outer Banks island of Ocracoke, North Carolina. But nothing could stop us from attending an event that we have very much wanted to check out since first learning of its existence a few years ago, Blackbeard's Pirate Jamboree. The Outer Banks was known to be a hideout for infamous pirates in the late 16 and early 1700s, and that pirate history is relived every year on Halloween weekend on the island. As we arrived for the event in our pirate garb, we were welcomed by the enchanting harmonies of the Motley Tones, the Mid-Atlantic region's most popular pirates of the performing arts. We enjoyed a bit of their sea shanties and pub songs before moving on to explore the festival. We hadn't traveled very far when we encountered a pirate showing off his skills with a bullwhip behind some thoughtfully placed caution tape. A volunteer was brought up to hold a feather, which the pirate whipped out of her hand. Her courage was rewarded. There was a colonial village where reenactors accurately displayed colonial crafting, medical, and cooking techniques. Pirates encouraged audience members of all ages to get in the ring and engage in some sword fighting. No guests were harmed with these pool noodle swords. Actual swords were demonstrated by experienced pirates later in the festival. Guests were also given the chance to play this pirate tug-of-war game.
We visited the encampment of Leviathan Nautical Living History, a group of reenactors dedicated to the accurate demonstration of life on a ship in the Age of Sail, from the late 1600s to the early 1800s. Many of the aspects of life on a ship were discussed here. This is also the encampment where they held a small firearms demonstration. First up was a musket demonstration. This gun was used for shooting at the other ship when they were still a good distance away. We learned how to load a musket, and then we saw it in action. Next up was a demonstration of the blunderbuss. A gun that was used once the enemy ship was much closer. Again, loading the gun was demonstrated. Someone with a musket stood watch while his shipmate loaded the gun, so he wasn't as much of a target during the relatively lengthy loading process of the time.
All right, one more time. Yep, there we go.
Nearby, there was also an area devoted to candle making. This is where I learned that candles from the colonial period weren't much to look at. It was around this time that the Motley Tones strolled up and began singing. We stood around and enjoyed their infectious music again. This set was very interactive as they involved a number of audience members in their act. Once the musicians moved on again, we watched people try their hand at axe throwing. We gave it a try too. But I suppose, like many things in life, it takes a bit of practice to get good at it. Now, there is a reason that Ocracoke's Pirate Festival is named after Blackbeard. When he wasn't out to sea on his flagship Queen Anne's Revenge, Blackbeard found the shallow waters of the Outer Banks to be a perfect hiding spot, thanks to the North Carolina governor's relaxed tolerance of pirates. The governor of Virginia, though, had grown tired of piracy in general and Blackbeard in particular. He commissioned a crew of naval officers led by Lieutenant Robert Maynard to go down to Ocracoke and bring an end to Blackbeard's reign of terror. On November 22nd, 1718, almost exactly 307 years ago at the time we're posting this video, Maynard and his men did just that as they killed Blackbeard right off the coast of Ocracoke and beheaded him to take his head back to the governor of Virginia as proof of their success. With that history in mind, Blackbeard and his crew returned for revenge more than 300 years after his death. Their ship appeared in the harbor and began firing cannons at Ocracoke. The island was thrown into chaos for a while, but thankfully some villagers appeared on the docks to fire their muskets back at the mad pirate. He sailed away a few minutes later, but we were all pretty sure that would not be the last time we saw Blackbeard and his crew that day.
Avast ye matey! If ye are enjoying this video, do me a favor and click the like button to help other landlubbers find me channel. Once the attack in the harbor was over, we attended a talk from author Kevin Duffus called Blackbeard's Head. Kevin is a historian who wrote a book entitled The Last Days of Blackbeard. He also is the person who created this pirate festival, which began as a simple memorial service for those who died at Blackbeard's last stand. It was a small service held out at Springer's Point, the area where the battle took place. As the event has grown from a memorial service to a pirate jamboree, it became too large to hold on the rugged coastline of Springer's Point. This year, Kevin spoke about the history of beheading in general, then talked about the truth of what likely happened at the end of Blackbeard's life, compared to some of the legends that don't seem historically accurate. After speaking, Kevin signed copies of his book. Then we were back outside to take in a performance by the Shadow Players Stage Combat Group. Their stage show recreates the golden age of piracy. It combines comedy and audience participation with sword fights and pirate songs. The performers in this group all have experience in stage combat choreography and are all trained to fight with various weapons and in various different fighting styles. This show was wildly entertaining.
Kick on chin! The German laugh. The lady swoon. Captain asked, are we there yet? Yes!
Then we went back inside the barn to see a stage performance by the group that became our favorite pirate minstrel band, the Motley Tones. They even entertained us while performing their sound check.
This is a song we sing when we do sound check. We're doing sound check, so this is where it goes. This is a song we sing when we do sound check. Yo ho 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 ho. Yo ho yo ho yes. We're doing sound check. Yo ho ho. This is a song we sing when we do sound check. Yo ho 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 ho.
We heard some of their songs 2 or 3 times throughout the day, but enjoyed it even more each time as we learned the lyrics to these sea shanties and sang along. There were numerous vendors selling handmade crafts and local products. They did have a snack stand selling hot dogs and chips and a couple other snacks and some drinks as well. The peace on the island couldn't last. Just as was foretold on the day's schedule of events, Blackbeard and his crew returned on his ship and showed up across the street from the festival at the National Park Services docks. As they approached, Kevin Duffus took the mic to explain the events that led up to this fateful encounter. Lieutenant Maynard and his men set up an ambush. Even though Blackbeard saw them approaching in 2 shallow water sloops, he didn't prepare as he thought they looked harmless, and he thought he was safe on the shores of North Carolina. He realized he was wrong on both counts a bit too late. A firefight began, and Blackbeard and some of his men boarded Maynard's boat because he thought the boat's small crew was mostly injured in the crossfire. It was a trap. Maynard had most of his crew hiding below deck. The crew on the deck, who appeared to be injured, were just acting. Hand-to-hand combat ensued, and Maynard killed Blackbeard and cut off his head. Maynard took the head back to Virginia, where it was said to be hung on a pike in Hampton, Virginia, as a deterrent to other pirates. The crowd was split, with half the people celebrating the government's victory over a pirate, and the other half of the people angry about it. So it goes. Blackbeard's Pirate Jamboree took place on the grounds of Berkeley Manor. The event closed with a solemn memorial service for all the lives lost in Blackbeard's last stand. Also memorialized was the life of Captain Horatio Sinbad, a pirate reenactor who participated in this pirate jamboree every year that it was held. He passed away earlier in 2025. While most people left the island on the ferry or went back to their home or hotel room on the island, we attended the after party at the end of the day at Ocracoke Oyster Company. Wouldn't you know it, the Motley Tones performed one last set to close the event down. To find out more about the history of the Outer Banks of North Carolina, click the links at the end of this video. And please do subscribe to our channel, and have your second mate strike the notification bell so we can see you the next time we're marauding through.